Hi, I'm Peter Travers, and this is Popcorn, where we talk about what's happening at the movies. And the big happening right now is the Coen Brothers film, No Country for Old Men. In a moment, we'll be talking to the three stars of the movie, Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin, and Kelly Macdonald. But for right now, let's take a little bit of a taste of No Country for Old Men.
I was sheriff of this county when I was 25 years old. Grandfather was a lawman, father too. The crime you see now, it's hard to even take its measure.
We're out a bunch of money and the other party is out his product.
Willin, what's in the satchel?
Full of money?
I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss.
Do you want to leave a message?
Yes.
What are you doing, baby?
Fixing to do something dumber than hell, but I'm going anyways.
You think Moss has got any notion of the sorts that are hunting him?
You can't stop what's coming. What's this guy supposed to be, the ultimate badass?
Compared to what? The bubonic plague?
These people will kill him, Carla Jean. They won't quit.
He won't neither.
I always think this is what it come to. I previsioned it.
You know how this is gonna turn out, don't you?
Nope.
I think you do. What's the most you ever lost in a coin toss? Call it friendo.
Okay, I want to welcome all three of you to this show. I will start with Kelly Macdonald from Scotland, Javier Bardem from Spain, and Josh Brolin from the country of Los Angeles.
Wow.
I'm going to ask each of you very briefly to say who the heck you play in No Country for Old Men. And I think it makes sense to start with you, Josh. Do you remember?
Do I remember?
It's been so long
It's
ago.
been about a
Yeah.
year, a little longer than a year. I play a guy who lives in a trailer park with his lovely wife, and they're very much in love, and he's out hunting one day and he runs into a drug deal gone bad and finds $2.4 million and decides to keep it. How's that? And then runs into major obstacles and finally to the level of some mythological proportions.
So how do you then try to match that by saying
Well,
who you play when he's already said that you play his wife?
Well, yeah, our name's
His
Carla Jean.
irritated wife, maybe.
Our name's Carla Jean, and I play Llewellyn's wife, Carla Jean.
Without your natural accent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much
So-
so.
Yeah, I'm a West Texan in the film.
And how did you think this marriage was between the two of you? Because we come into the movie and you're already married and you're already there. And I think when people go see the movie and watch it, they'll have their own ideas. But what are your ideas?
I think it's a lovely thing. I think they're in that gorgeous, comfortable place where there's just a huge amount of love and respect, and they can have fun with each other without it being, oh my God, what did you say? And you know, they're just lovely. And the reason he does what he does with the money is for her, I think.
And Javier, you come in and do strange things to both of these people. So, who are you?
I am the force of evil. I am the embodiment of violence itself. I am the guy who has something not personal, but has a duty with Josh Brolin's character and with Kelly's character in order to finish one job.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it.
He's been hired for, but basically what he is what violence represents in this movie.
It's still a difficult thing. I mean, other than your haircut in the movie, which is its own force of evil.
Totally.
Who decided? Was it the Coen brothers that said, this is how we want you to look and how your hair should be cut?
Yeah, I learned 2 weeks ago that it was based on some photographs that Tommy Lee Jones brought in a book about New Mexico and Texas, right?
Prostitutes, isn't it?
Yeah, turn of the century prostitutes or something like that.
Brothels.
And some customers were wearing that haircut, so they weren't making this plan on my back. I didn't know until I had the haircut already on my head.
And after you screamed, you said, anything for my art.
Anything from my art, exactly. Exactly.
Anything for the Coens.
Anything for the Coens.
All right, well, you brought that up. So what about these guys, these mystery men that nobody is supposed to know much about? And how do two people actually direct a movie?
The Coens are very quiet.
They're very quiet.
They put a lot of preparation into what they do, and they know pretty much exactly what they're going to do. They allow actors to explore the characters openly, but they've done so much work that there's not a lot of need for it, you know? I mean, I think that they put a lot of pressure on themselves to cast it correctly, and once they've cast it, they allow the actors to do what they do, and then within that, there's little tweaks and all that.
Tiny, but
Tiny.
very
tiny tweaks.
Yeah.
And
But
laconic tweaks. Why
since
don't you lift your arm on that one, see if it works better?
when I think of the rumors, which are so much better than the fact, the reality of working with the Coen brothers, I've always heard from people who shall go nameless, George Clooney, that you have to read what they've written exactly the way it's written, that you don't. Look at this nodding.
That's not true.
No, that's not
You
true.
can do whatever you want.
And actually, I mean, I may be the one here that may have some serious problems with that in terms of pronunciation. Like what? Because some words may be difficult for me just to say. So they were really wide open, and having in mind that it's based on a book in Cormac McCarthy's dialogue, that will be even more weird, no?
I know.
So they are truly open to work with the words that they may have any problem on you.
The mystery of the Coens
The
isn't
mystery, that's what I
nearly
wanted
as
solved.
interesting as it is to work with the Coens. And it's not nearly as satisfying as it is to work with the Coens.
It's true.
Yeah,
I'm meeting them.
for sure.
Okay, we have to take a break right now, but in a moment we'll be back and talk more about No Country for Old Men.
Yes, sir?
I'm looking for Llewellyn Most.
Did you go up to his trailer?
Yes, I did.
Well, I'd say he's at work. Do you want to leave a message?
Where does he work?
I can't say.
Where does he work?
Sir, I ain't at liberty to give out no information about our residents.
Where does he work?
Did you not hear me? We can't give out no information.
You don't really play a lot of forces of evil. This is not you. You've got the eyes. They're warm. They look like there's kindness there. We've seen you play that. What? Where do you find this? Where do you find and did it ever freak you out? Playing somebody that is really, because the character is so funny at the same time as he's scary. The toughest thing to do, I think.
I truly
to get
believe.
both.
I truly believe that my job was to try to put together what's his motivations, what his motivations are, but the scary part and the funny part, I truly believe that it's based on how the Coens put it together.
Okay, let's talk about the tough scene for each of you. There's always one that maybe it's in the beginning, maybe it's in the middle, maybe it's at the end, I don't know. But the scene that is really just rough for whatever reason. And we'll start with you.
I always have one, but it was a little bit different in this because the reason, usually my reason is it's just I don't know how I'm going to tackle it, and I turn up in the day and hope that it's going to work, kind of thing. But this one, honestly, my toughest scene was my first day on film because it was just nerves. Mm-hmm. But it kind of worked for the scene, and it was the first time that I was going to be in front of the crew using the accent, and so it was just nerves. I was a bit shaky, but it kind of worked for me.
But doing the accent too. I mean, is it still with you? Could you just answer a question?
It's weird that I've been working in the States since this film. I haven't worked in the UK at all, which is really peculiar, and I've done the odd sort of general American accent since then, and it's really hard to forget my southern roots.
What are you doing, baby?
It's really peculiar. I can't. It keeps on sort of creeping up, and I have to, keep it down. But,
her accent is amazing.
It
in
is.
this film.
It's just.
It was so nice for her to speak in the accent because when she was talking,
you kept laughing at me.
I kept laughing. I understood about 50% of it. And the minute she'd get into the accent, I'd be like, oh.
Okay, this is it. Bring it on. Bring it on.
I get it.
All right, Josh. What was the murderously difficult scene for you?
There was a scene where I was on the phone, and Javier's character, Shigur, and Javier had left to go do Love in the Time of Cholera. And we were doing the scene, and I thought the scene was going pretty good, and we had decided to turn away from the camera, which I thought was an interesting take on that scene.
You bring me the money and I let her go. Otherwise, she's accountable. The same as you.
And there was an earpiece that they kept wanting me to use. And I said, I really don't want it. They said, it's Javier's voice. I said, look, Javier and I spent 3 months together. I know exactly what he's going to do it, exactly what he's going to do. It's all good. Where are you? I know where you are. Okay, all right. So finally they go, we did it again, and we did it again, and we did it again, and finally they said, I really think you should use the earpiece. And I was like, what's the deal? I think we have it. And they go, I don't think we quite have it. And it was very frustrating. Anyway, I put the earpiece in, and which was Javier's recorded voice, and he says, I know where you are. And I said, where? And he says, in the hospital across the river. And I said, oh, really? And he says, do you know where I am? And I said, no, where are you? And he says, I'm on the beach in the south of Spain with 2 topless women. I was like,
so you were really...
But I was so focused on the scene, I was like,
wait a minute.
And I looked back at the Coens, and the Coens were laughing hysterically on the
That's why they
ground.
choose to put it on your back, right?
On my back. But then you see my face turn around like... It was a great moment. It was a fun moment.
In that moment.
Yeah.
Humor
always.
Humor always.
Always.
Yeah, everything about movies.
It's comedies
just,
that are
fun.
tense.
Nobody's tense.
No.
Comedies that
Nobody
are tense.
was tense.
All right, then you.
My
what
moment.
is it?
Well, I guess the gas station scene is where I have the most dialogue, and it was pretty. It's like 2 actors saying dialogue, and the rhythm of that dialogue, the rhythm that involves that it has to be there in somehow. Doing a foreign language is quite difficult, and it was about a game between 2 guys, and that was very difficult. But the games were extremely nice, and we took a whole day to do it, which I really appreciate that because I was quite tense and nervous, and they put it together quite good.
And you didn't have to do impersonations of Josh.
I can.
No, I wish I was there that day on the set. Be like,
and it just, it doesn't
he was
work.
great. It was that's an amazing scene. That's a 6-page scene. It's a really long scene, especially for this movie. Lack of dialogue.
Well, it's genuinely a movie full of amazing scenes, and I want to say, me as a film critic, the definition that I'm often told of what a movie critic is a guy who comes into the battle after the battle's over and then shoots the wounded, and finally, there's a movie where I don't have to shoot anybody. So thank the 3 of you for
That's a really nice
Thank you.
Thank you.